Hi everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Saajid. Today's video is going to be more anticipated releases of 2020. I already did an anticipated releases video, but since I made that video, I've actually come across a lot more new releases that I'm excited for. So in a poll, I asked y'all if you were willing to see another one of these videos, and most of y'all said yes, so this is for you. I made a whole video plan in my bullet journal. Yes, I'm organized now. So I'm going to go through a list of 12 books with y'all, and after that, I'm mentioning 4 bonus books, so make sure to stick around till the end of this video. The first 2 books come out in February. On February 4th, we have King and the Dragonflies by Kaysen Callender. Yet another book by the iconic Kaysen Callender. This is a middle grade story set in New Orleans, and it's about a boy named King whose older brother Khaled dies, and he believes that Khaled turned or basically got reincarnated into a dragonfly and is living out on the bayou. So him and his friend Sunny decide to run away. Sunny is also running away from like an abusive situation at home. They both decide to run away and go live out on the bayou by themselves amongst the dragonflies. And I believe there's a queer romance that happens between him and Sunny. I love that Kaysen Callender writes queer middle grade romance that is so incredibly important. So I really look forward to reading this one and seeing what I think of it. On February 11th, we have No True Believers by Rabia York Lombard. This is pitched as Internment by Samira Ahmed meets Sadie by Courtney Summers. It's basically a YA thriller about Islamophobia. So the main protagonist is Salma, and she has a boyfriend named Amir, and they both end up getting accused of committing a terrorist bombing that happens in their vicinity, and the mystery is centered around Salma trying to figure out exactly what happened. Sounds like it's going to be interesting. Hopefully I like it. The next 4 books come out in April, the first of which comes out on the 7th, and that is The Beauty of Your Face by Sahar Mustafa. This follows a Palestinian American Muslim woman named Afaf, who is the principal of an all-Muslim girls' high school in Chicago. And essentially one day a right-wing conservative shooter decides to attack this school, and the book is set throughout the day, and we're following Afaf's experience throughout the day, but we're also going to be given flashbacks of her life growing up and her family's life and them being displaced from Palestine and her losing her older sister at a younger age. It sounds like it's going to be a very, very tough read, but I've heard incredible things about it because it's been on a lot of like, you need to read this book in 2020 lists. So I'm really excited to read it. Hopefully I like it. The next book I'm supposed to be getting an arc of, so hopefully it gets here before the book comes out on April 14th, and that is Love After Love by Ingrid Prasad. This is by a Trinidadian author, I believe, so that's really, really cool, and the characters are Trinidadian as well. This follows a family, predominantly a mother and a son, Betty and Solo. Solo's dad, Betty's husband, who is very abusive, passes away, and when he does, Betty ends up inviting a family friend named Mr. Chatan to come and live with them. And one day Solo overhears his mother Betty telling Chatan a very unsettling secret, which unsettles him so much that he decides to go away and live in New York City by himself. Even though he essentially cuts ties with his mother, I believe he does remain in contact with Mr. Chatan, so he remains kind of the glue that binds the two of them together until they both find out that he's been hiding a secret himself. Sounds really good. Hopefully I like it. Hopefully the arc gets to me in time. The next book comes out on April 17th, and it is called Far From Mecca, Globalizing the Muslim Caribbean by Aliyah Khan. This is actually a non-fiction book that I have to read for school, and I'm excited for it because it is one of the only, it's going to be probably the first like work of academic non-fiction that solely deals with the Muslim Caribbean experience. There's obviously been a lot of articles and books that have like sections in them as well, but like this is the first like actual published work that is going to deal with the Muslim Caribbean experience, its history, and probably its contemporary conditions in a detailed academic way. And I'm so happy that this book is going to exist, and I'm so incredibly excited to read it, not just because of its importance, but because it's going to be relevant to my thesis as well. So I'm very happy that this book is coming out. So we have another non-fiction book that is coming out in April, and that is called All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson, which comes out on the 28th. This is a YA non-fiction, which is so cool because we don't get enough of that. It's essentially Johnson's memoir growing up as a queer black teen, reflecting on that experience, talking about the importance of fighting for your place in this world, as well as being an ally to people who need to fight for their place in this world. That's all I know about it, but it sounds like it's going to be a pretty good read. Jesse from Bow Ties and Books has been raving about this story, so I'm really, really looking forward to it. Jumping into May, we firstly have a middle grade book that comes out on the 12th, and that is A Place at the Table by Sadia Faruqi and Laura Chauvin. This is about a Pakistani Muslim girl named Sarah and a white Jewish girl named Elizabeth. They both end up joining this cooking class together. Sarah doesn't want to be there. She's only there because her mother is the teacher, but Elizabeth is very eager to learn about the cookings and whatnot. And the two of them form like an unlikely friendship or whatever. I guess it's supposed to be about like cross-cultural friendship and all of that. Looking forward to it. Hopefully it's cute. I follow one of the authors on Twitter and she's really cool, so I just really wanted to support this story. The next book sounds so freaking good, and I really recommend, I'm going to be linking all of the Goodreads down below, but I really recommend that you go and read just this good. If it's only one book that you go and read the summary for, go read this one because it sounds freaking amazing. That is the 30 Names of Night by Zain Jukadar. You might recognize his name because I mentioned his previous book, Map of Salt and Stars, in my last video. But essentially this one is set in Manhattan, and it follows a Syrian boy whose mother passed away 5 years prior, and now his elderly grandmother is fully in his care. His mother was an ornithologist, she studied birds, right? So he ends up finding a journal from somebody who's also coincidentally Syrian American that is a painting of birds, and it's by a woman named Laila Z. And he realizes that there's a connection between Laila and his mother that could tell him a lot about his past, that could even give him answers about his queerness because he is a trans man. Y'all just have to read the summary for this book. It sounds so freaking cool, and I am so incredibly excited to read it. That one comes out on May the 19th, and now we are jumping on into June. The first book that I have to talk about comes out on June the 2nd, and that is A Burning by Megha Majmudar. This book is set in contemporary India, and it's about an Indian Muslim girl from the slums who is accused of committing a terrorist attack, and it also follows a man who wants to join a political party who benefits from this accusation. So it's about these two characters. It's about Islamophobia in the Indian context, which I think is really cool and something that needs to be talked about and represented a little bit more, at least here in the West. So I look forward to reading this book and see what it has to offer. The next book I have here comes out on June the 30th, and y'all know what this is because this has been on your list too. That is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. Y'all, I am red tea for this book. I've never read anything by Garcia before. I know I'm blasphemy, cancel me now. But this book sounds so freaking interesting. It's set in 1950s Mexico, and it follows this woman named Noemi. She's invited by her newlywed cousin to come and stay with her and her husband in their very mysterious house somewhere in the countryside, mostly because her cousin is afraid of her husband. So the main protagonist goes and stays in this house and learns all of the unsettling truths about the house and the husband and everything else. Sounds like it's going to be a really, really good time. This cover is absolutely stunning. This cover could punch me. This cover could choke me, and I would thank it. The last two books before I get into the bonus books both come out in August. The first of which comes out on August the 4th, I believe, and that is More Than Just a Pretty Face by Saeed M. Masood, or Saeed M. Masood, I don't know how to say his name. This sounds like a really cutesy contemporary YA love triangle romance about this boy. I believe he's Muslim, and he has this girl who he's really, really interested in and who's perfect for him, and then he enlists the help of another girl to help him with something, and then he ends up falling for her. So it's kind of like a love triangle. I don't know, most of the books that I have on this list about Muslims are about like terrorism and like xenophobia and stuff, so it's nice to have one that's just like a cute nerdy romance type thing. The last book that I have to talk about, I would be lying if I say to y'all that 90% of the reason why I'm reading this didn't have anything to do with the cover. This is the most gorgeous cover that I've ever seen in my entire life, and even if I don't read this book, I'm just going to buy it so that I could frame it in my room. It is called Star Daughter by Shweta Thakkar. It's a fantasy novel. I don't really read fantasy, but look at this cover. Do you see the Indianness? I'm feeling my ancestors in my veins right now. Every time I look at this cover, I feel my ancestors in my veins. This is a fantasy novel wherein the main protagonist, Sheetal, is half human, half star. So her dad is a human mortal and her mother is a star. And when Shital is young, I believe her mother decides that she wants to return to the sky. So she's like, peace out, bitches. I don't want to be with you anymore. I'm going back up in the sky to shine bright like a diamond like Rihanna. You can stay here and be basic as humans. Bye. So the main protagonist wants to go and find her mother because her father is burnt by starfire, and the only way to heal her father is to get like a star to heal him. So she goes to the star realm to look for her mother. Although I'm not a fan of fantasy, A, I'm still buying this book just because of the cover, and B, I do like sci-fi. So I feel like even though this book is not sci-fi, the astronomological, cosmological, celestial vibe that I get from it, I might like it for that. I just want the book because of the cover. Anyways, let us get into the 4 bonus books. The 4 bonus books that are coming out in 2020 that I want to talk about are the Lunar Chronicles series by Marissa Meyer. It's already out, but it's being re-released next year with new covers, new paperback covers that are absolutely gorgeous. If you don't know, the Lunar Chronicles series is a sci-fi retelling of classic fairy tales. I really liked it back when I read it. I had my ups and my downs with it, but for the most part I really enjoyed it, and Crest was my favorite book in this series. Which brings me to a cool collaboration. This isn't even sponsored, they just asked me to do this for the fun of it. They asked a bunch of reviewers to do this, but the publisher contacted a couple reviewers and asked us if we would be interested in helping them reveal the step back covers. And I picked Crest because that's my favorite book in the series, as I said, and Crest is my favorite character. So this is the step back for Crest. It's Crest and Thorn. They're my favorite ship in the series. I love Thorn. As I said, Crest is my favorite character. Thorn's hand looks kind of disproportionately large, but I mean, like, but also I don't know if this picture like perfectly captures the essence of the characters, because I remember them to be 2 clown ass fools, which is why I absolutely love them. So I don't know if the picture captures the clownery that is a part of their character, but I still really love this illustration. I think it's gorgeous. I love the illustrated new editions in general. I think they do a better job at representing the aesthetic of the series as opposed to the original covers, which are still really gorgeous. But yeah, I'm super duper excited to jump back into the series, to reread it, to repurchase it, even though I already read it and purchased it and unhauled it. Consumerism, you always find a way to just rope me back in. But yeah, I will leave a link down below to this and all of the other books, Goodreads pages, etc. for y'all to check out. Definitely go pre-order some of these. In the comments down below, I'd love to know if you have any anticipated releases that you'd like to share with me or recommend that I keep on my radar. Have you read any arcs of any new releases that you want to talk about? Let me know in the comments down below and we can have a chat about it. Anyways, with all of that being said, thank you all ever so much for watching this video. I hope you have a lovely day, and until next time, inshallah, keep reading.